if I could just have everyone's attention, it's not quite 4 o'clock, but seeing that all are here that are going to be here, people happy for us to get started? Okay. Sorry, Adrian? So, welcome everyone. We would like to acknowledge that this land that we meet on today is the traditional lands for the Gawler people and that we respect their spiritual relationship with their country. We also acknowledge the Gawler people as the custodians of the Greater Adelaide region and that their cultural and heritage beliefs are still as important to the living Gawler people today. Now we have one apology from Councillor Brian Samble, and we have leave of absence from Mayor Karen Redmond from the 14th of March till the 14th of June. Are there any other things that anyone wants to raise in relation to attendance or no? Nobody wants leave of absence? Nobody wants a motion to grant leave of absence? No? Okay, and there's no non-attendance. Are there any declarations of interest that we should have before us for the meeting? No? Right, would someone like to move confirmation of the previous meeting's minutes, please? Alan, seconded by Helen. Any discussion? No? Those in favour, please show. Against? Carry. All right. Now, business arising from the minutes, as you can see from your agenda, we have a report on collection acquisitions updated. So would you like to do that for us, please, Jacinta? Thank you.
Through the Chair, this is a report of the items that have come in photographic album from the RSL. There are many unpublished photographs in that album. There are very raw and very real photographs in that album, so we will be warning anyone who wishes to have a look at it that there's some distressing images in there. It's a particularly interesting acquisition. The RSL have only know that they've had it for 50 years. They don't have any record of where they got it from. So we're trying and find out a little bit more about it. We will contact the War Memorial once the exhibition and History Festival is over and we've got a chance to breathe and trying to find some more information about it. But we're very grateful to the RSL for entrusting us with such an important document. I think it's got national importance if we can verify that those images are not in the public domain. They're certainly not in the War Memorial's records. So that's a wonderful addition to the collection. On a more local addition to the collection is Win Nicolai's St John's Ambulance uniform. So it's lovely to have something from a female community member that's indicative of her service to the community. So Win was involved in lots of things in the community, but one of them was the St John's Ambulance. That acquisition came to us through Tony Piccolo's office. So I think that will be something that will be treasured in the years to come when we're looking to tell more female stories. As we know, that's a gap in our current collection. So so apart from that, we've got some really interesting things. So if there was any questions about any other items in that list.
So, any questions or anything that anyone wants to add, or Helen?
Other than just, again, it's great to see the community donating material in, and good to see the article in yesterday's Bunyip from the Win Nicolai's uniform. It was a good promotion. So it continues to see such a wide variety of material coming in. It's great to see. So well done.
Thank you, Helen. No one else wants to add anything? If not, does this need to be voted on? It does. All right. Would someone like to move those recommendations, please? Deborah, someone second them? Adrian? No further discussion, no further questions? No? Those in favour, please show. Against? Carry. Right. The items listed for discussion for future meetings. Oh, the History Festival. Sorry, I jumped in. Did you want to talk about that, Jacinta?
Thank you. Through the Chair, as the committee is aware, we have produced our Gawler brochure of events, again, working with community groups who are also undertaking History Festival activities in Gawler for this year. The Cultural Heritage Centre's activities include the opening of our new exhibition on the megafauna on May the 7th. We also have a talk by Professor Aaron Kamens, a paleontologist, and we have another talk by Ella Kelty, who's the lead archaeologist on our Pioneer Park Wall project, talking about the archaeology of that project. We will be undertaking guided tours of the new exhibition. There's also guided tours of the Civic Centre and the art collection in the Civic Centre. We have a filming of La La Dreaming, which is a very important film that's rarely shown. It was made in the early 1970s by Michael Eadles when the Warrara people of the Kimberley region asked him to document their culture because they could see that encroaching technology and lifestyles were limiting and they were potentially worried about losing their culture. So that film is rarely shown on a big screen, so there's going to be a real opportunity for the community to come together and view that film in that sort of format. And then there's all the other things in here that are being undertaken by other groups. We have 2 small exhibitions. We have a Mother's Day exhibition, which will be running in the cafe area. That's from white flowers to white goods, sort of the commercialisation of Mother's Day. However, Mother's Day was first celebrated in Australia, in South Australia, so we are telling that story. Working on that with Martin Walker. And then on the 13th, through to the end of the month, Daniel Down and a group of artists are hanging their exhibition, which is Gawler Underground. So that's an opportunity to see photographs of Gawler's basements that people don't generally get to see. The artists are making artistic interpretations of the basements. There's video clips. Alan's involved in all of that as well, that you'll be able to go back to. There's an opening for that on the 13th. So there's lots of different activities for people. The youth, I should also say, are doing a geocaching event in Gawler. So there's all different activities. And so the brochure is here. It's available at all our normal council outlets, the libraries, customer service, elderly centre, sports centre. So I encourage everybody to have a look, start planning what you'd like to do and enjoy the History Festival in Gawler. There's no need to go anywhere else.
Thank you, Jacinta. Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Jacinta. Through you to Alan, could you just give us a bit of a breakdown of the Gawler Underground exhibition? I was going to talk to you after the meeting, but so it's come up here. I thought just like to share it with the group.
So the concept was something that Daniel Down put together about 2 years ago. And what we've done is we've gone into various basements in the main street. We filmed video of myself talking about the history. We've thrown in some ghost stories to attract a wider crowd. We've also taken the artists down there and they're interpreting what they saw in the basement. So I think there's 6 locations. There's also one upstairs, which is the Union Mill. The rest are the Piles building, Riddell and Riddell, the PA Hotel, 6 Porter Street, which is the Old Manse. There is another one, Imprint Flowers on Todd Street. So they're the 6 for this one, and Daniel has plans for future things. We've also both been independently contacted by the ABC to talk about it on Monday, so more exposure. So, yeah.
That's fantastic.
So it's a film of it. Can people visit those sites or not? Those underground sites?
So they can't get access because obviously there's health and safety reasons. So what we've done is the videos, there'll be a QR code attached to the group of paintings or artwork, and you'll be able to scan the QR code and that will bring the video up. And then you can watch the video and Daniel's filmed inside and he's also got photos that match up so you can actually see inside. We also uncovered some history at Riddell and Riddell and a little bit of history at the Piles building, the brownstone jazz cellar. We actually found the history from that from 1981 to 1983, so that's going to be included as well. Well, that's entirely up to your interpretation.
The reason why I asked is because there was a ghost story about the basement here in this building, and so there was this story of the ghost down there. But so are the ghost stories real site? Like, are they ghost stories that people have relayed back, or they're just something you've added in for poetic, you know, license or whatever?
So what I do is, for me, the ghost is what attracts people to history. So it's my hook. And we research the people that are allegedly the ghosts. We look into their history, we look into how they died, and we leave that interpretation up to you in the end. Whether you think the place is haunted or not doesn't really matter. It's bringing you in to find out about the history. So obviously this building is allegedly haunted. But if there's any truth to it, I mean, I've worked here for almost 7 years and I haven't encountered anything, so.
I've been here and I have 40 years and I'm still to meet one, so it was very lively with the ghosts, because the fact there are families that get quite noisy.
So we do try and keep, well, I try and keep the ghost stories historical, so they're generally pre-1950. And where I can, I do approach families and ask them, is it all right to talk about it? Yeah. Especially ones in Gawler, because I happen to know a lot of people grew up here myself. So, and you know, a lot of it's urban legend and misinterpretation. Yeah. No, that's correct. Yeah.
Last thing on the ghost, I actually did a ghost tour of Gawler probably 10 years ago. There's a business from near Parawira there. I don't know, you might know the person, Alison, somebody? Yeah, and she conducted a ghost tour of Gawler, you know, Dead Man's Pass, Pioneer Park, mentioned downstairs and a few other, we walked around town. So does that fit in at all or not? That's just something separate completely, what Alison has done.
No, that's entirely separate to what we're doing. So most of the research for this comes from Trove, the National Library's Trove, or it's local anecdotal stories that were then looked into, and in a lot of cases we've completely obliterated the story. They're just not true, they're just urban legends and, you know, get passed down over time, but they're still interesting and they still draw people to history, so same as true crime draws people in, so.
Jacinta.
Through the chair, I think one of the really important parts of this project is people are going to get to see the basements as an architectural feature of Gawler properties, especially commercial properties, and you rarely get to see that. And in particular, the Riddell and Riddell, which has been is still storing a lot of documents that we've spoken to the committee about. So this is a real opportunity to see the structures that support the buildings above them and what people use them for. I mean, I think the jazz club in the 80s would be a fabulous use for a basement. And then the local artists reinterpreting that in that space and really looking at an artistic interpretation. We have, as we know with Andrew McCormick portraits, we have a 19th century artistic interpretation of some of the people of Gawler. This is a modern day artistic interpretation of some of the buildings of Gawler. And I think that in itself is going to be a fantastic reason to come and have a look at that.
Helen.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, there's always crossovers. I've spent the day doing some research on Thomas Molan, who's on our guided walk of the Williston Cemetery, and he will feature something to do with the exhibition, so that's really nice. But it was interesting to read his backstory. A very feisty Irishman, it turns out. But what occurs to me is that normally after the History Festival, we have a post-event get-together to do a bit of comparison. I'm very aware that's generally in June, and it's generally the mayor that calls that group together. So I'm just heads up that perhaps we might need to look at doing that, you know, a little earlier, or you know, if Karen isn't returning till mid-June, it might need to be. But also we'll need to look at the invitation list, because there's a few people that we've missed in the past, so maybe it's a chance to review that. So, for example, St George's somehow didn't come along to our... So incidentally, we've got a clash there, so maybe we can just look at that invitation list again and also pull a call out for maybe some more organisations that would like to be involved. So that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah, Peter? Oh, Peter.
Through the chair, and for those playing along at home, highly recommend getting one of these brochures, because all of the Gawler events are in the one brochure. If you get the full History Festival program, the printed version, some of ours are in the northern area and some are listed in the Barossa area. So it's over 2 different sections of that booklet. So please share far and wide that if I want all of the Gawler stuff in one spot, use our little brochure.
If I can speak again, Chair, it occurs to me, maybe we'll pick that up in the post-event get-together. With 30, whatever we've got, 37 events in Gawler, I think it's time to lobby the History Trust to have our own section, to be quite honest. They constantly do that, split us between the two, and we've got such a large number of events now. I think we should start to lobby.
I would like someone to move a vote of thanks to Jacinta for the work she's done on this. That's a remarkable brochure and she's done a lot of work pulling it together. Would someone like to do that? It'd be nice to record it on the committee. Deborah, did you want to speak at all?
As a volunteer in downstairs in the Heritage Centre, Adrian and I are always really impressed with the work that goes on down there and how hard, how much time they put into making these things work. And I know that they work on days when they're not meant to be, because I've received emails and said, but it's Friday. And why are you there? So, no, it's a wonderful looking brochure. I like it's lots of space, it's good. Thank you, congratulations.
Yes, Jacinta.
Thank you. Through the Chair, as with pretty much everything we do, this is a team effort. So this involves the marketing team. It obviously involves Natasha and the rest of my recreation and leisures team. The VIC are involved in this. The Civic Centre is involved in this. It's very much a team effort. And that equally goes for our exhibitions, where the team at the depot have been going above and beyond this week to help us do some rather unusual things outside their normal scope, but they've got a really open and willing attitude, and we're very grateful for that. So at the town of Gawler, we work together to produce these things for our community.
So could we just say that the team of people at council who have pulled this together? Yeah, all right. Okay, so Coddy's otherwise engaged. So, Cultural Heritage Collection Committee. So you're giving her a form of words, are you? Or...
They're on the screen for you.
Oh, you've done it already.
Some typos, but we'll fix that.
Thank you. Lovely. So everybody can see that? All right. Yeah. Those in favour? Yeah, that's...
You moved it, didn't you, Deb? Yep, Deborah's happy, so we'll just hold seconded. Beautiful.
Lovely. Those in favour, please show. Against? Carried. Thanks very much. I can cross that out because I was writing it. Right, okay. It's funny to have someone know what you're thinking. It's bizarre.
Doing it a long time, Judy.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so that's that. So now we're coming to management plan. Items listed for discussion at future meetings. Management plan, is anyone going to speak
So
to
through the Chair, that'll be future ones, so that'll be coming up. Is it June we were looking at that? Or was it August? One of those, I think, from memory.
Through the Chair, that depends on whether I get to sleep during
Yeah,
the History Festival.
correct.
Oh, really? Fair enough.
So we aim to have it to the committee as soon as possible. As we've discussed prior, we've got a bit of discussion work to do around that. Our management plan 2020 to 2025 is coming to an end. There's a lot of outstanding actions that we're simply not resourced to do at the moment. So we're looking forward to redeveloping a plan with the committee to accurately reflect what we can achieve with our growing numbers of visitors, at the same time maintaining a strong emphasis on collection care.
What about staffing?
Through the Chair, if I win lotto, no, through the Chair, as we're all aware, this is a constrained time for Council and we have to work within the FTE that we have. So it's about us realistically assessing what can be done in that time, and then what can be put off to a later time, and thinking about where we want to, as a committee and staff, strategise the direction of the Cultural Heritage Centre. We've put a lot of effort into building an audience, and that's a really, really important thing from my perspective, because I've always said we need to embed this collection in our community so that after we've all stepped off committees and workplaces and that there is an equally committed Gawler community of heritage lovers coming behind us. So it's about balance. It's about that collection care management, which we do, and we do very well. But in an ideal world, when there were more hours in a day, I'd like other things done. And I rely on the committee and David and Natasha to say that's lovely, but let's be realistic. And so that's what this opportunity is. With our last plan, I think it was ambitious, given our growing numbers. I accept that that's me. I'm a big picture person. I do that. I look for others to say, no, let's just bring it back a bit. But it's also a time for us to reflect on what we have achieved in the collection care, in the management of the collection, in the building of our volunteer team, and in the building of our audience. So they're all good things to look at.
Thank you, Jacinta. Helen?
It is a chance, and we have as a committee already addressed future resourcing in terms of staffing. So I think some future gazing in that, within that management plan, would be appropriate. But we certainly, as Jacinta said, we understand at the moment we're not there, but if it's going to be a 5-year management plan, then I think it would be appropriate for us to do that. On another matter, could we please have a third item listed for future discussion? I think it's time, and it's a discussion that Jacinta and I have had, is to look at our place in the role that the Gawler Cultural Heritage Centre plays in cultural tourism. You may be aware that within the budget there's a proposition to employ an economic development manager whose role will include that whole tourism part of council. And I think we now have enough, as you say, we've got enough runs on the board to show how a particular collection and all the activities that go with it are bringing people to Gawler. So I'd like to see, perhaps, doesn't need to be extensive, but a short report in which we get the chance to discuss that, so that can be folded into the management plan as well. Happy to take suggestions about how that would that precede the management plan as a discussion item, or what do you think?
So through the chair, my personal opinion is to be separate to the management plan, because the management plan is specifically about the collection and the management of the collection. The collection's role in the tourism, for cultural tourism, is one piece of cultural tourism as a broader subject. So I do believe they're distinct matters.
Well, I'm just going to ask that. No.
Through the chair, we don't need a motion. It'll be discussed, listed for future discussion at a future meeting, and we'll take it up from there.
All right, well, that takes us to digitalisation fees.
So through the chair, that one again will come up soon-ish, as soon as we can. Hopefully June, if we want to effect any change to fee and charge that we are charging for the copies of images. We're just working through that benchmarking, ensuring that we're not going to go over and above, but also be realistic in terms of the value of the images that we're providing for professional publications, so that we can effect that change into the fees and charges that have been adopted as a draft by council, but won't be finalised until the June council meeting. So that's our time frame on that one.
Thank you, David. Are there any questions without notice? No? Any motions without notice? Oh.
Can I be cheeky and just ask for a brief update on the exhibition? Because my curiosity is...
So through the chair, the Threads of Life exhibition came out on Monday and Tuesday of this week, and we've started to install the new exhibition. There's a printer down there putting the new windows in. You'll notice as you exit the building that the new windows are in. The Diprotodon arrives at Gawler on Monday. He gets installed in the Civic Centre on Wednesday. So very excited and looking forward to seeing him.
Has he got a name?
Dippy, we call him. Now, Adrian Shackley said to me, is he a male or a female? And I said, oh, I've got no idea. But I'm sure some child will ask me that. So he'll come in on Wednesday. And then Denise will start putting the rest of the exhibition together around him, and she will do that over a number of days. The formal opening is the 7th. She's hoping to be finished before then. So we'll see, depending on how everything goes with that. It's together with the Diprotodon, we will be talking about the Ghana stories of the megafauna. From their perspective, she's been working with, as we all know, working with Ghana on collecting and telling those stories. So we'll be looking at two different competing theories, whether they became extinct from climate change or whether they became extinct through Aboriginal hunting practices, without a definitive answer on either of them, but it's two different theories. And we'll also be looking at the citizen scientists of Gawler of the 1890s. At the Institute, there was a naturalist club, there was an assaying club. There are number of people who were interested in the sciences, and so we're going to be talking about that from a 19th century perspective too, and what the discovery of the Diprotodon bones in Gawler meant to those groups. This was one of the earliest discoveries of Diprotodon in South Australia, so we'll be talking about that in the exhibition as well. So the emu cloak will be coming out again, which is a lovely thing to look at. It's a very beautiful object. And there's some fascinating fossils that will be on display, and a kangaroo skin that's kindly being loaned by Ghana. So I think it's going to be more natural history focused than our previous exhibitions. However, as I said, we are talking about the Gawler Institute and the early scientists in the space. I've been speaking with our community officer, Linda, to Trinity College, who are very excited and very keen to get apparently all of their students through, which is 4,000. But to look at ways that we can embed that in their curriculum, and they're very generously offered to share their teaching resources with all of the Gawler schools based on this exhibition. So I think this will be very appealing to families and the schools in this space. So we're really looking forward to seeing it and looking at how the community embraces a different type of storytelling to some of our other exhibitions, but that's an important part of audience building, different things for different people in the community. So yes, if you want to swing by on Thursday, I can show you the debris.
Thank you, Jacinta. Well, is there anything else anyone wants to raise at all? If not, I'll close the meeting and thank you all for your attendance.